I'm MC Toon, and it's Tuesday night. Tonight we've got a debate. Again, tonight it is with Andrew Pickett. And he is here with me. How you doing, Andrew? We're having a little bit of
Good.
maybe some
It's great to
network.
be here.
The network might be a little choppy here.
Well, it's a little cloudy where I'm at.
Are you doing it over cell phone connection?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, so not actually Wi-Fi. All right. Well, we'll try to make the video work, and if not, maybe we'll have to drop the video just if it gets too choppy. But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll get into it.
Oh man, I'm just not much of an introduction. I was just gonna have a debate with this guy over. I don't know if I'd necessarily call it the shape of the Earth. I don't even know if the shape of the Earth is known, but my understanding of it is to be stationary. Flat, I don't really consider it to be a shape, but there's definitely no doubt in the back of my mind, and as far as I see what reality has shown me, stationary is probably the wisest choice anyone can choose for their reality. So, yeah, I mean, what's your questions, man? What do you have for me? I mean, I know you've debated flat earthers over your podcast, and there's probably not much you haven't heard.
Yeah, I think there's a few things that maybe I haven't heard yet. But after a couple hundred debates.
What about the electromagnetism speech that I gave? You found that funny?
The speed. So people know. We found each other through Facebook in a Facebook group.
Yeah.
I'm in too many groups to know which is which.
I'm in a few myself.
So why don't you want to cover a little bit of the electromagnetism that you because clearly the audience hasn't.
Well, I think we all understand how electromagnetism works through the push and pull of ions, and that's how I describe the way the sun and the moon orbit above us. That's my explanation. That's my understanding of it. That's what I see through molecules and the push and pull of these molecules, of these ions. I mean, other than that, that's pretty self-explanatory. I know people like to.
So what you're saying that electromagnetism keeps the sun up?
Yes, I believe that the moon and the sun are these forms of these ions, and through that they create this magnetic field over Earth, and it allows them to push and pull between the North Pole and the outer edges of our Earth, which some people call the South Pole, Antarctica, the ice ring. I think there's that field from the ice ring, from the North Pole, Earth, the sun and the moon, and it creates the field, and it allows them to levitate, and I believe they fluctuate up and down and in a circular motion. So, and I believe my understanding of electromagnetism is that. So
So now
I don't know.
don't here. don't worry about like toning it down a little bit. I did go to university for electrical engineering. This is my math book, so you can get as technical as
Yeah.
you want with it. I can handle it. But so what about so you think that electromagnetism is the eons and the ions that is the holding up the sun?
Yes, the molecules, the atmosphere, all that. It all plays a role in it. But
Okay.
yeah.
The so like so is the sun? Do you think the sun is ions or eons?
Well, the moon seems to be able to move a little differently than the way the moon seems to move a little bit differently than the way the sun does. So the sun has a direct path. It circles. It does this 12-hour, you see 12-hour days, 12-hour nights. It doesn't stop. The moon, on the other hand, there's times where you can see it during the day. You can literally see the moon from midnight the night before all the way to midnight the night after. So it's out. I've seen it out for over 24 hours. And
When has the moon been
so
visible for
as
24
far as
hours? I don't know if I've seen that before.
the moon, yeah, oh yeah. Yeah. I see it. It happens quite a bit, actually. This is not something new, not even to me, not even growing up watching it and seeing it and experiencing it. The past 6 years, I've paid a little bit more attention to it, but other than that, yeah, I mean, it's definitely been out over 24 hours, and that's a little
From
that's a little bit much considering what you thought about how it
and
orbits the sun or how it orbits Earth and how the Earth orbits sun and the way
okay.
the eclipses work and
So what latitude was this at?
what latitude.
Yeah, what latitude did you see
Um,
the moon for 24 hours?
well, the degrees change hourly, but it just seems like it's at a slower pace
Did
than the
did
sun.
did yeah, but you saw it 24
Like
hours. So I'm just wondering what latitude you saw this at.
well, whatever. I don't know what latitude I'm at. So honestly, I really don't. I have no
Oh,
idea. I mean, I could look it up on Google, and they have these little latitude and longitude numbers.
because
But as far as like my latitude and longitude, I have no idea.
okay. Well, I'm in the Minneapolis area in Minnesota.
I
I'm at
couldn't tell
Fort
you. I just know the
uh,
degrees. I know the sun. I know the
um oh geez, you're
for what?
yeah, you're just your video's a little it's just having a little trouble. Um so you
All
don't
right.
know the latitude you live in. Um
No, I really don't, man.
but you have seen the moon for 24 hours. Um and so if is the sun, because you're talking about electromagnetism, so is the sun, you think,
I,
and the moon,
yeah, I think
they're
the sun.
opposite then, or are they the
Yeah, I
same
believe it.
charge?
I think no, no, I don't think they're the same charge. I think they would have to be opposite.
Okay.
But
And so then is would you say like the sun is an
it
ion and
would it
the
would
moon
almost
is an
I
eon?
well I almost it almost feels like the moon, or it seems like the moon sometimes plays both roles. I mean, it seems like it's able to how should I put this? It fluctuates between eons and ions more than the sun does, where the sun is purely more of a proton, right? Something
I,
like that.
I something like that.
That's me thinking out loud, man.
Hmm. What so since you mentioned that you understand electromagnetism, what's your background, just so that we know?
what kind of background do you have to be able to understand your reality?
Well, no, it just I think a lot of people don't understand electromagnetism. It's a pretty complicated topic. Um, I would say most people out of high school don't have a good understanding of it. So, um, unless
What's your
maybe
understanding of it?
unless maybe they took like a specialized optional
Yeah.
class. But like I said,
What's your understanding of it?
I studied electrical engineering, so we
Yeah.
cover electromagnetism pretty extensively in electrical engineering courses at university.
Yeah. So
So,
what is your understanding of it? You're around it daily then, huh?
um, well, yeah, I I dealt with it a lot at university. Like I said, like this is I most of my other books I didn't keep, but this is my math book here. It was
Yeah.
it's a lot of math, a lot of
Yeah.
a lot
It
of
looks like a big
calculus
ass
and
book.
stuff. It is that was
That's a big ass book, dude.
indeed.
So what is your understanding of electromagnetism?
Um, that's a pretty open question. I studied it at university as an electrical engineering student. So pretty strong. So when you say that the sun and moon are somehow suspended because of the electromagnetic field they generate, then what comes to mind for me is, well, I would just expect to be able to measure this electromagnetic field. So how strong is it, and what is the actual mechanism that generates the electromagnetic field?
Yeah, I think the atmosphere allows us to be able to measure that.
Okay, like if I got my multimeter out, would I be able to measure the electromagnetic field generated by the sun and moon?
Have you ever measured it with it?
Yes.
So what's the measurement?
0.
Oh, didn't see
Yeah.
that coming.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a couple problems with what you're saying here. One would be the plausible mechanism that's generating it, the electromagnetic field. So you do generate electromagnetic field through a moving magnetic
So
charge.
you're saying Earth's atmosphere has no electromagnetic field.
It doesn't have much. Yeah.
You just said 0.
Yeah.
So like 0.001, 0.000001.
Well, I could tell
1.0.
you what, I'll go grab my multimeter and then so you'll entertain them for a second here. Hold on.
I'm not much of an entertainer, man. I just came here to ask questions and answer them.
All right, so I got my multimeter here. So
is that multimeter a good device to measure?
to measure an electromagnetic field? I don't know. I mean, you're
In
the
our
one.
atmosphere?
I don't know.
You asked me to measure it.
Well, yeah, you're the one saying that there is an electromagnetic field. So, I would expect that there's. So let's see. Should I put it to? I'll put it to volts DC. There we go. And then, all right, I'll turn it on here. So, all right, it's kind of jumping all over the place. There you go. So like if I put them one high, one low, will that?
Yeah.
Well, is that how it is done?
If that's how you do it.
I don't know. I mean, you're the one saying that the electromagnetic field is what holds up the sun and moon. So yeah. So
I definitely understand that.
Yeah, it's kind of coming out. It's about 0 millivolts here, but jumping around a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's not working out too well for that. Now maybe a compass would register this because compasses are very sensitive devices to measure electromagnetic fields. The problem is I've never seen a compass without bringing a magnet near it just flip around it and change direction. So
Yeah.
that doesn't seem to work too well either.
No.
So yeah, so I'm still lacking kind of a plausible mechanism and some measurements to back up your idea here for how the sun and moon are suspended.
The mechanisms are Earth and the sun and the moon and the atmosphere.
I don't know if that's
Is that not how it works?
That's not a very descriptive explanation for it.
Fair answer.
No, so like
it's not. It's simple.
It does seem like it is simple. I agree that what you described is very simple. But to suggest that it's electromagnetism, first of all, then we'd want to know, well, how high is the sun and what's it made of and what's its mass? Do you know that? Or did you I don't know if you disconnected there or something?
It changes. I think it changes with the seasons.
And the mass of the mass of the sun changes.
It moves. It fluctuates.
Here, can we do this? Let's. Why don't you turn?
I think it.
Could you turn off your video and then I'll be able to hear you better?
Okay. Let's see here. See, how do I do this?
It should be on the. So all right.
Should be on me.
There we go. That's I think. All right. So that's.
Does that work?
Well, now you're back. There we go.
Okay. Does that work?
There. I think I can hear you better now.
All right. Cool.
Okay. So what is the height of the sun then above the flat Earth?
Well, it changes. So I don't know. I think the dome is no higher than 200 miles. So I think it can fluctuate between 190 miles to let's say 36,000 feet.
36,000 feet. That's pretty low. Airplanes fly. Airplanes fly higher than that.
Yes, they do.
So
you mean spacecraft?
No, an airplane. A commercial airplane flies higher than 36,000 feet.
Oh well, yes, but a space station, a spacecraft, it's intended to go beyond major portion of Earth's atmosphere.
I was just talking about airplanes. You said the dome was 36,000 feet.
Right. But the major portion of Earth's atmosphere is 75%. It's 3/4. That's 36,000 feet. So when you hop in an airplane, you're actually hopping in a spacecraft.
Okay. How do you get that?
SDAR, satellite digital audio radio service. That's a space radio communication.
Okay.
They send these stations over 36,000 feet. That's 3/4 of Earth's atmospheric mass.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the major portion of Earth's atmosphere.
But what do you mean by its atmospheric mass?
You don't think atmosphere has mass?
Yeah, but
Of course it has mass.
the but you said it's 3/4 of the mass. I'm
That's 3/4 of Earth's atmosphere. That's 36,000 feet from ground up. That's 36,000 feet. That's Earth's atmosphere. So when you send a space station into the sky, you're sending it around 36,000 feet, give or take.
but an airplane isn't a space station. Are you saying it's a
No, I'm not saying an airplane is a space station. I said it was a spacecraft.
how? What makes it a spacecraft? It's just an airplane.
A spacecraft by definition is a spacecraft that is intended to go beyond the major portion of Earth's atmosphere. And the major portion of Earth's atmosphere, which is 75%, 3/4 of that is 36,000 feet.
But you know that the Kármán line is already a definition for the edge of space, right? People have already picked that.
Well, the major portion of Earth's atmosphere is 36,000 feet. So anything above that is considered space.
But by you.
No, by definition.
But what can you cite the definition then?
I just did.
No,
I just told you Earth's atmosphere.
No, you cited yourself. You didn't cite.
Feet.
But you are not the dictionary. So
no, but this is in the dictionary, and you can look it up. You can look up space station, spacecraft. You can look up SDARs. You can look up. This is what a satellite is.
It is. It sounds like it's just you have changed. You have picked that definition, not that other people have. So you are citing yourself. You're
Earth's
not
atmospheric mass is 5.15 times 18 kilograms.
Okay.
That's 3/4.
Hold on a second.
36,000 feet.
Wait. Let me do that again. What was it again?
5.15 times 10.
Times 10. 5.15.
10 to the 18th.
Oh, 10 to the 18th. Okay.
Kilograms.
Okay. And then what? That's the mass
That's
of the atmosphere.
36,000 feet. That's 36,000 feet of atmosphere.
But
that's from the ground to 36,000 feet. That's 75% of Earth's atmosphere. That's the major portion of Earth's atmosphere.
Is that 75%? Is that 75% of the mass of the atmosphere or the height of the atmosphere?
No, it's 75% of Earth's atmosphere. Atmospheric mass.
The mass. Okay, so isn't the bottom portion of the atmosphere the most dense? Meaning that the highest part of the atmosphere is much less dense, so you'd expect less mass in the top part than in the bottom part. So it would be probably not 25% of the mass. You'd probably have 90 to 99% of the mass in the bottom 36,000 feet. I never said
25. I said 75%.
75. So at 36,000 feet, you have 75% of the mass.
Earth, yes, that's correct.
Okay, and the height you think is about 200,000 feet?
200,000 feet of what?
How high is the dome again? That you think?
Probably maybe a little more than 200 miles.
Okay, and all right. So then you have measurements of this.
I don't have measurements of it. I've never been to the dome.
Are you aware that you can measure things without just going there? There's other ways to measure things, right? You know that.
Yeah, but I like to see people, actually do things and then listen to them as they go along, and then kind of depict and is this person telling the truth or not? You know,
Okay.
from
Yeah,
psychology.
but that was but my point
There's
wasn't
been numerous. There's
the,
been numerous interviews where people literally state in these interviews of what reality is. You know, and there was an interview with Neil deGrasse Tyson. He was talking with a guy on some podcast that they have. And in this podcast, he was telling them that
the Earth is a sphere. I know that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson says.
He was telling this guy that the edge of space
Is the
where the
Kármán line?
ISS is, the highest they've been is 200 miles. Okay, so 200 miles is a statement that Neil deGrasse Tyson has made where this is what he defines as an astronaut.
250 miles maybe would be more what he said, probably.
I mean, well, technically he said 200 miles, but
okay.
But if it's 250, okay, cool. That's 50 more miles.
Okay.
But that's if somebody goes to 200 miles, they're considered an astronaut. And I've heard in recent forums that 60 miles is the new space jump.
It's always been 62 miles is the Kármán line, or 100 kilometers. That's been a long time. And so, but by definition, anybody above 100 kilometers was considered an astronaut. The U.S. Air Force did change the definition to 50 miles, which is 12 miles lower. But that seems to have been I think they left that off and went back with the Kármán line. Don't know for sure, but I don't know how that has anything to do with what you're going at for the measured elevation of the dome.
That measurement, it gives me a good understanding of like where people have gone. So if they've gone 200 miles, like they said, instead of 239,000 miles, this tells me.
Well, they said they also went to the moon.
But the furthest they've gone is 200 miles. But then again, they've also gone 238,000 miles where they've landed on the moon. They've planted a flag. They have put
a reflector. Yep.
They put reflectors on this. But with the Hubble telescope, what is it, about 200 miles?
Why? Where did the Hubble telescope come into this?
So we're just talking about globe backs, right?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the Hubble is
Hubble a globe thing.
Yeah, it's in orbit. It's not an extremely high orbit.
Okay, it's in orbit about 200 miles, right?
I think it's more, but
yeah.
But I can get a better number.
It's around the exosphere, right? It's pretty close to the exosphere.
Okay.
But this Hubble telescope, we have these things on the moon that you could, possibly zoom in and be like, hey, it's right there. But I've never seen it, so
if you've never seen something, does that make it? If you've never seen something, does that make it stop existing?
Yes, it does.
Oh. Have you been to France?
No, I've not been to France.
Does France exist?
It's possible.
Wow. That's it? That's all you've got is it's possible.
Well, I mean, your question is a straw man. So
no, you said if you haven't seen something, it doesn't exist. And you've not seen France. So by that logic, France stopped existing.
Yeah, but that's a straw man argument. And I'm talking about a flag and a reflector on the moon that I've never seen.
Okay.
I'm not talking about France.
But I'm just testing your logic, Andrew.
And go to France. I can't book a flight and go to the moon and see the flag and the reflector.
Well, so you change the rules then. So it's not just about you seeing it; it's about you being able to book a flight to go see it.
It's
Oh,
not even about that. I'm just saying it's not something that I can do.
all right. So for reference, I looked it up. 350 miles is the Hubble telescope.
Well, you can thank social media, the mainstream media for the 200-mile hike instead of the 350 miles.
I would suggest do your own research would be
I
one
do my own
one way.
research.
And so just watching an interview with somebody would not be really
I don't know.
a great way to do
is,
it.
Is Neil deGrasse Tyson not somebody should be listening to about reality?
Don't bother listening to him. He's just a pop science communicator. Fine guy, but he is certainly not an instructor or a professor at universities. He's not an
authoritative source.
I wouldn't. I don't care. He's a pop science communicator. So his job doing that isn't to press the edges of science. He's just to communicate in a way that people can understand, which often doesn't means that it's not very technical and isn't necessarily really specific. Right? When your audience is, people that have a high school diploma, maybe, right? You can't get into calculus, right? You wouldn't talk about to somebody that only has a degree or only has graduated high school. You wouldn't go on and on about electromagnetic fields and ions and eons, right?
Protons, electrons, push and pull.
Pushytrons. Yep. So, all right. So your height of the dome you got from listening to an interview with Neil deGrasse Tyson. Is that about?
Well, I never said that was the height of the dome.
Oh. What's what is the what's the height and how did you get the height?
Understanding of where the dome. It allows me to kind of get a feel of like, 200, 350 miles. That's the farthest you can go. What's keeping you from going any further? Is it 400,000 miles?
But people have gone
or 4,000 or 400 miles. I mean,
people have gone farther. So why did you pick that particular one instead of how far they went when they went to the moon?
I mean, I threw them both in there. I'm talking about both of them.
Okay. So the moon is.
But okay, so 238,988 miles. That's the distance from Earth's surface to the moon.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so we've got astronauts that's claimed to have been there.
Yes.
And they placed monuments on this moon.
A flag, yeah.
That nobody can see.
Well, the China has taken.
And I think
photographs.
I think there's a rover there. There's a Land Rover there.
There's.
They've taken photographs.
3 of them. You can see the
photographs of the flag on the moon that nobody else can, but they can.
So, sounds like you're just a science denier. Do you have any?
I don't deny science. No.
Oh, well then, okay. So you agree that people went to the moon and that we can bounce lasers off of the retroreflector. If you're not a science denier, then all that science is there, and certainly you've looked up the scientific studies and reviewed them for. Right?
Obviously, it's not. If there's people out there that question it.
Just questioning something isn't a valid. It doesn't exist because something questions, right? You have
That's
to.
What science is.
You're not going to know. You'd want evidence.
The grass is green, or why the grass is green, without questioning it.
Sure, you question it, but that doesn't make it wrong just by questioning it, right? You question it, and then you get some evidence. Then you get some evidence for it. Once you have evidence, then
you search.
then
You
you have
look,
something.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
I agree with that.
you could personally find a place that has the capability of sending a laser to the moon and measuring the distance to that retroreflector.
And watch a computer screen.
Yeah, that's how science is done. So if you
No,
don't like how science, if you're just
that's
going to
not how
deny
things
science, then we'll
done.
go back to being a science denier,
No,
right?
that's not 100% how science is done. That's
Oh, well, how is science done?
no. Science is also the journey.
Okay.
So like going to the moon, that never happened. Observing your observation of it.
Well, certainly
Not very
people
many
went.
people have that observation.
Yeah, but certainly people went to the moon. There were.
I mean, how do you know that?
Well, I personally spoke to Charlie Duke,
Well, you've gone to the moon?
who went to the moon. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you've gone to the moon.
No, I personally spoke to Charlie Duke. Science doesn't require a person to do everything. That's not science. That's science denialism. Science is somebody does the work, they publish their work, other people analyze their work. If there's
That doesn't
problems
mean
with
the
it,
work is always true.
absolutely. And if there's problems with it, then there's a process to address the problems with it. Also, then you would want to repeat these things. Doing
And
it
that's where
once
the
is
flat earthers come in. They come in and they address the problems.
well, yeah, but
They're like
it's been
there to
repeated.
tell you, hey man, like if you want the world to be a globe, fix it. Make it at least look like it should.
Fix what?
Your flat earth composites.
Flat Earth.
You wrap around the ball.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a globe is nothing more than a Photoshop fisheye lens
A Photoshop fisheye lens.
of flat Earth.
So do you have the source images that are not the Photoshop version that we could look at?
There's plenty of footage and photos of flat Earth.
I've never seen any. From high
No,
elevation, I've never seen any. That's interesting. Do you have them? Can you send them in the chat so I can pull them up?
What is the horizon?
No, we were talking about a different topic. We're talking about pictures of the entire
we're talking about the
entire.
We're talking about the ball and not being. We're talking about flat or not flat.
Yeah.
So anything within that is all game.
Yeah, but you specifically were claiming that you were specifically, yeah, but you have a very specific claim that all pictures somehow are of a flat Earth, and then wrapped around a ball. So do you have like the original like single photo of the entire flat Earth that was then wrapped around the ball?
No, they're composites.
They're all composites?
You can't. Yeah, they literally take photo composites of Earth and then they CGI them to fit a spherical Earth.
So CGI. Now, computer graphics didn't really exist until the 80s, and even then it was pretty poor.
80s. So, I don't know, man. Have you ever seen the 1933 Kong?
It was terrible. And that wasn't computer. So when you say CGI, that's computer graphics. So the C part of CGI is computer. So
it is.
Yeah.
I agree, but it's still the same, regardless.
It's still the same.
And it was horrible. Regardless. It was a horrible freaking movie.
Yeah, but that's not, of course, what I would point to as evidence of the Earth. So,
but that's 1933, and their globe Earth that they had in 1933 that nobody had ever seen at the time. It came out. The first thing that this movie showed was Universal, and then this big old globe that nobody had ever seen until the 70s,
40s,
the 40s. Well, they had a 1946 photo of Earth, but it was just it wasn't a full globe. I can tell you that. And you can
Yeah. So
manipulate.
here's
You can manipulate the horizon
to be
line.
clear, there were globes in the 1400s.
Globe.
There were
Oh,
globes
there's been globes
in the
for about yeah.
1400s.
I think I've heard about 2,000 years now. There's been a
Yeah,
globe model, but
there were
before that,
physical globes that people had and
right?
possessed and
But
held and
not until
manipulated that
right,
had the land masses of the earth in
right.
approximately the right spot, and over time they got
Uh,
better as cartographers did
there's
more and more
no
work.
approximately on the right spot on a globe.
Why not?
There has to be a globe before there can ever be an approximate.
Well, of course, yeah, and the maps
But
that
there's no
they
globe.
use
This
that,
is you.
but
We live on a stationary Earth.
that's just your religious mantra. But do you have
I'm
evidence
not
for it?
religious.
Do you have
I'm not
evidence for
religious.
this? Do you have evidence? Do
Yeah,
you
I
have
walk on
measurements
it
of
every day. It's
do you
right
have
below my feet.
yeah, but do you have
Of course, I
measurements of
have evidence.
flatness? Just send the measurements of flatness. You'll be the first. Let's see them.
So the measurements of a globe Earth is like how do you get that spherical look? What
I,
measurements would you need?
You
I think
said
I think
the Earth
since
is flat.
school,
I asked for measurements of flatness, and you were going to provide
right,
them. Then you went to a
right.
different
So
topic. So can you provide the measurements of flatness?
no, I'm not going to a different topic. I'm telling you that the measurement for a globe, in order to get your ball, you need to what is it? 8 inches per mile squared.
Wrong formula.
Wrong formula.
That's the
Since
wrong
when?
formula. That's always been
Since
the wrong
when?
formula. It's never been the right formula.
So why is it
So
used?
it's not used by
So what
anybody
formula
to
is
predict
used?
the amount hidden. It's never
Yeah.
used to predict the amount hidden.
Yes, but so you're telling me I go to Florida and I zoom into Cuba over 1,000 miles,
Nobody's ever done that. But do continue. This is funny.
and you can literally see Cuba from Florida.
No, you can't.
You can't?
I've never seen that. That's crazy. Oh, keep going though. This is good. This is good.
Okay. So how is that done with the curvature at 8 miles, 8 inches per mile squared?
Well, it's not. So that's easy
Right.
enough.
It's not. You're correct.
It's never been seen. So that I know of. But I tell you what, how far is it? You mean from like the southern tip of Key West, right?
Yeah.
To, let's see, we've got 95 miles
Oh, it's
from,
104 miles.
well, it's the nearest. I'm looking at it right now. I mean, I can share the screen here so everybody can see that it is
104,
95.
103, somewhere like that. 103, 102
95.
to Cuba.
Just a second. Just a second. Now, of course, that's using the Haversine formula, which I mean, you're going to have to, I don't know how you calculate distances over flatness.
I think there's a mile of curvature you should see, but and
Okay.
back to the curvature thing.
No,
Do we call the curvature?
Here we go.
Is the horizon line?
I'm
the
showing
curvature?
I'm showing right now the distance between the tip of right there, Key West. You see that? And Cuba there. So 95 there. I can go down to here. It gets a little
95 miles.
96.
That's
So
about
about
a
the
mile
closest
curvature.
there. Right there. Now to
Still about
calculate.
5,000 feet.
Yeah. So now, do you have a photograph of this that you said has happened?
No.
No. Okay. So I will say then that nobody has ever photographed it.
Okay.
I'll say what can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence.
Right, like the moon landing.
No, the moon landing has lots of evidence. You actually people have a lot of work to do to try to do it. So
like the simulation.
So, do you have any other maybe citations of long distance things that you think is wrong? Anything?
No. But when we talk about curvature, we call the curvature the horizon line. Is that correct?
The horizon is the result of the curve of the Earth. Yes.
Right.
That's the way to put it. Yeah.
by definition, though, the horizon is not ascending or descending.
What the hell does that even mean?
That means that you're not level by definition is flat, not having one part higher than the other.
Well, that would be wrong.
So the horizon
hold
line,
on a second. Hold on a second.
Definition.
Just a second. I've got the definition of level right here for people to look at. I'll share the screen
I've got it too,
so you can see it.
I'll even share it in the group later.
Right there. There's what does level mean? Right here,
Right.
From a book published in 1814. There's newer ones, but this is a nice one because it shows that this has been around a long time. Leveling. So we got the true level is a curve conforming to the surface of the earth as ABG. And if you see right there, that big curve, ABG, A at the top, B on the right, G down farther on the right. It's curving. That is the definition of the word level. Now, I don't just have one definition. I have about 45 definitions of level on this webpage right here. Here's another one. This is a newer one.
In those 45 definitions, you should see level flat, not having any one part higher than the other.
Yeah, that's not the when the definition of level is referring to the surface of the earth, there's a different definition than the one that you're talking about. So here's another one. Level surface is a curve.
Definitions to fit your model.
I'm sorry. Like I said, these definitions have been around for a long time. This one was published in 1814, more than 200 years ago.
Right.
The version of this
has been around a long time.
Yes. So the definition of level.
If I go to level this building over here,
that's a different definition of level.
Not one part. No,
that's
not.
A different definition.
It's math.
Yeah, it's a different definition of level. When we're talking about the surface of the earth, there's a definition for level. When you're talking about doing things in the construction industry, that's a different version of level. When you're
insane right now. Do you hear yourself?
Well, I'm just showing the definition of level on screen. Everybody can see right now that you are the one.
Literally just gave the definition of
level. You are the
one
rejecting the definition of level that I have showing on the screen right now. I'm not the one rejecting anything.
That definition of level contradicts level. It doesn't match level.
It sounds to me like you are using yourself as the citation again. That's called Ipsy Dixit, where you declare yourself to be the one and only source.
That's called globe reality.
If you don't like the definition of level, maybe you could find measurements.
You just debunked your own home.
I didn't debunk anything. I'm showing the definition of level. You have nothing other than your own self as the citation.
Look, man, I have the definition. It was in a dictionary. I will share it to the group later.
Sure. Send me that definition, and also look up the definition. If you like that particular dictionary, look up the definition of.
I've seen that definition that you just given me.
And look up the definition in that same dictionary, since you like this dictionary.
It doesn't make any sense regarding level, and it doesn't make any sense regarding level.
Andrew, while you are in that dictionary, Andrew, hold on a second. While you're in that dictionary, please look up the word Earth. Don't cherry pick.
It's going to say stationary and flat.
No, it won't.
Yes, it will.
The dictionary does not say the Earth is stationary and flat.
Yeah, it does.
Oh my gosh!
When you put composite photos,
your claim is that the dictionary
says the shape of the Earth.
You're saying that? Oh my gosh! What are you talking about?
I'm talking about homes.
All right. Well, here it is. I brought this up from before. Here's a photograph taken on physical film, developed in a dark room. And this is the actual piece of film. You can see the grid lines on not the grid lines, the wheel things on the sides there. So that is so. Are you saying this is a computer generated image?
Oh, most definitely nowadays, sure.
From 1972.
So you're telling me that the definition of Earth does not say stationary or flat?
Sir definitely does not say that in any dictionary. No. I mean, unless you got a Flurf dictionary, but I don't care.
I mean, I'm about to put one together.
You're gonna put your own dictionary together. So again, you're gonna go with yourself as the citation.
And
oh my goodness!
And I'm gonna even call it the Flurf Dictionary.
Perfect. Oh my gosh, it's good humor. All right, so I mean, the list goes on of the definition of level here. Again, level line is a curve. Yep. These are from surveying books, from universities, from
so
it just goes on and on.
Telling me that level actually means curved.
Absolutely, that is the definition of the word level when referring to the surface of the earth. Yes.
So when I level my table, it's actually curved.
That's a different definition of the word level.
That's a different definition.
Are you unaware that the same word can have multiple definitions?
There's only one word, level, and it has one depiction.
Oh no, the word level has multiple definitions.
You can't just make up definitions behind the word level.
I agree.
A globe Earth.
And so you should stick with these that have already been defined since long before you were born. 1814, for example.
Those aren't defined. Those are not defined. There's no way that's defined.
Well, it's right there. You can go get the book and read it for yourself. True level. Yeah,
there's all kinds of stuff you can find on the internet, but that doesn't make it true.
No, not on the internet. You can get this physical book yourself. The true level is a curve conforming to the surface of the earth. That's what the definition means.
Anybody can write a book.
In the book,
Anybody can read a book.
The theory and practice of surveying containing all the instructions requisite for the skillful practice of this art. That's the name of the book.
Blows my mind.
You can get
stuck on it. And
you can go get this physical book and read it yourself. That is the definition of the word level. You have redefined the definition of level. You've cherry-picked. You have cherry-picked the definition for the word level that you want.
That level has multiple definitions. So how did I just redefine it if it's one of the definitions?
Yeah, it's the wrong definition of it. You are using it the wrong way. When speaking of the surface of the earth, level is a curved surface. No. When talking about the construction industry, it's a whole different thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't apply to this definition.
That's earth.
So, all right. So you just hand wave deny the actual definition of level. Okay. So now
that is not the actual definition of level. Oh my God.
It's literally on the screen right now in a book, a real physical book. You can go look at. I'm not saying
I've seen the definition on Google myself, the one that you're speaking of, but that is not a definition of level.
Well, I don't know why you would say that.
I don't care who's behind it.
Okay, now would you want maybe the definition of level from the Merriam-Webster dictionary? Would you want that? Is that a good
definition of level? It doesn't matter what book it's in. The definition of level is in fact not having one part higher than the other.
Are you sure? I mean, it's on the screen that it's different. I'm literally showing a book that disagrees with your own personal claim.
No, it's not an own personal claim. It's literally a definition of level I just given.
Yeah. All right. Well, it
is even stated the level has 45 different definitions.
No, it actually all 45 of these are the same. So, all right. So here is the Merriam-Webster dictionary.
The 46th one. The 46th one doesn't matter anymore.
All right. So here is the
level. It'd probably be the first one. It'd probably be since the beginning of time. Level has always been known.
All right. Here you go, Andrew. Here we go. Here's a dictionary. Right? Here's a dictionary. Are you happy with this dictionary? Is this a good dictionary to look at?
I mean, it's got some good stuff in it, but level is wrong.
Level's wrong in this dictionary?
Does it state that level is more of like a horizontal line, like the horizon?
So you just want to cherry pick. Is that it?
No, you said from observation, what we can see of the Earth, we know that it curves, and
Yeah,
that
I mean that.
this
I mean,
horizontal line,
we're
this
just
horizontal
talking.
line that isn't level but appears to be level,
All right, so here is.
is in
I'll
fact
just.
a curve.
All right, so here's
Not
it.
level.
Here's it. You wanted the dictionary definition. Here's the dictionary definition: having no part higher than another, conforming to the curvature of the liquid parts of the Earth's surface.
Not, I know, but that's not. It's not. There's no curve.
So you want to cherry pick away this one too?
It's not cherry picking.
It absolutely is the definition of cherry picking, to deny one particular version of something and instead pick a different version of it.
I understand what cherry picking is, and it's not what that is.
Oh, well then what is cherry picking?
Cherry picking, that's me choosing bits and pieces of information given instead of taking the whole instead of taking everything into context.
Absolutely. So that is what you're doing then. You agree that you're cherry picking.
That's not
because
what I'm doing.
Here is
you told me
45 definitions of
it.
45 definitions of level that you cherry pick away. A definition of level
But
you wanted from the
level, by
dictionary. I gave you a definition from the
higher.
dictionary. You didn't like this particular one, so you cherry pick away this one. So
I don't
what?
like it because there's no curve.
Oh, well then you have measurements of that. Maybe show the measurements.
8 inches per mile squared. 8 inches per mile squared.
Well, it's the wrong formula, but
no curve.
Can you show the measurements of flatness then? Go ahead.
All you have to do is take a level and put it on your porch.
Okay.
And when that little bubble stands in the center of those lines, that's also a measurement of flat Earth.
How would that differ if the Earth were a globe on your porch?
Well, the Earth would have to be a globe for me to know that.
So you don't know how that would differ. So you can't actually declare that it is.
I don't know what actually works on a globe because I don't live on a globe.
Well, so you say, but you declared.
That's a fantasy world.
You declare, Andrew. I want to be clear. You declared that putting a level, a bubble level, a spirit level on your porch,
right,
somehow proves that the Earth is flat. So I'm asking, how would it behave differently?
That's a tool. That's a measurement tool.
How would it behave differently if the Earth were a globe? And you can't even answer that question. Therefore, you can't quantify the difference between your two positions there.
I can't answer that question.
And therefore you fail.
I don't live on a globe. I'd have to live on a globe to understand that question.
I think there might be some other reasons that you might need to understand.
Denial.
This. So denial. Exactly. That's what you're doing. So you have no measurements of flatness then. Is that where you're going to sit here?
Well, I mean, here's some measurements. Operation High Jump.
Okay. Oh, we'll send the link. Let's look at the measurements.
Freeze.
Well,
Fishbowl.
You're cutting out there. So it's hard to hear you.
You
but
you can look at these as measurements.
Okay.
So
we'll send the measurements.
High jump, deep freeze, and fishbowl. You can look at this information as measurements.
I think it sounds more like Ipsy Dixit again.
What do you mean?
I mean, it's not a measurement. It's just you making claims again. So where in those things are there actual measurements of flatness?
I think this.
Where would we find the measurements of flatness? You must have reviewed them.
The Earth is 61,000 miles.
What's that?
Is no more than 61,000 miles, the circumference of the Earth.
Okay. Why?
So that's the outer ring. That's where that's where the flat earthers get their ice wall.
Okay.
That ring that
where was
wrecks
this
around.
How was this measured?
Earth,
how is it measured?
You can calculate that. Well, you can calculate that just off the number 24,100 miles at the equator.
Okay. And so it wasn't it's
but
just
the equator at 24,000.
So assuming flat Earth, then you can get that. And so yes, that would be your hypothesis. Where's the measurements then?
The circumference, the diameter, These
Okay, and
61,000 miles.
and who measured that?
Probably Magellan.
Magellan. Magellan measured the circumference of
No, I think it
60,000
was
miles.
Sir Isaac Byrd.
Sir Isaac Byrd.
Yeah, one of
Okay.
those guys.
Sir Isaac Byrd. Interesting. Um,
Is that not his name?
no.
You know, that general that took this fleet of soldiers and they went to the ice wall. I think it's Sir Isaac Byrd, wasn't it?
I think it was Jake Byrd when he went to the 2019 Flat Earth Convention in Dallas. Could be.
I no. This happened in like early 1900s.
Sir Isaac Byrd. Oh my. Oh, that's funny. Oh, there it is.
You've never heard of him.
Oh, I heard of him. I'm a big fan of Sir Isaac Byrd. Oh my goodness. Would you say you weren't prepared for that?
Oh, I've been prepared.
Somebody in the chat was suggesting it was Sir Turd Ferguson.
Sir Turd Ferguson?
Yeah, it could be. It's a funny name. Good old.
No, it wasn't
Turd.
Ferguson. I remember the name Ferguson.
Is it because it be Gleam is suggesting it's Sir Isaac Newbird?
No, not Sir Isaac Newbird.
No. Okay. All right. Tell you what, I have.
He had this expedition. This guy.
Sure. Yeah.
He went to the ice wall.
Uh-huh.
And I think he spent 6 months circling.
Uh-huh.
And he came to a measurement of 60, I'd say roughly 61,000 miles.
Roughly. Okay.
Yeah, you know, because, I mean, it could be 60,000.
Hold on. Professor Phil Bell says maybe it was Sir Albert Newton.
No.
No?
No. Wrong guy. You'll get it right here in a minute.
Sir Isaac Newpond?
No.
Man.
I think he was a general.
A general. Was he a Navy general?
I think so.
Yeah, because in the Navy they have generals, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Robsky said it was some bird he met down at the pub.
No.
No.
Not the one he made love to.
No. General Jake Newton.
No, that's not it either.
General Patton Osbird.
No, I thought y'all had all the information.
Sir Isaac P. Friedley. The guitar player for Kiss. Sergeant Lee. He had a Dodge named after him. That would be the General Lee. Could it be Sir Humphrey Pushcart?
So no. But what was Operation High Jump? Do you know anything about that?
Something about the Olympics. Definitely where
Operation High Jump was
I think it was Larry Bird in the Olympics who got the new high jump record in the 1936 Olympics.
Yeah, if anybody got the new high jump record, it was Michael Jordan.
I'm definitely a general Larry Bird fan.
So you don't know anything about high jump?
Well, I do. But I do know that you won't find measurements in there. So I got a couple questions here. Robert
what was high jump?
Yeah, Robert Luscombe is saying, Andrew, what makes you more qualified than all the scientists who work their whole lives in this field? Why can you say that you're right and professional scientists are wrong?
Because they're wrong. I mean, and it's pretty obvious.
That's very compelling. Super compelling. Robert, I'm sure, will be thoroughly convinced.
There's just because they say they have proof of their claims. I mean, that doesn't.
I'm pretty sure
prove their claims.
I'm pretty sure that generally scientists don't claim that they prove things.
Oh, so nothing's actually proven.
Correct. Science does not prove things.
Oh, so they didn't prove that the moon is 238,988 miles away?
They measured it. It is a fact, but you don't use the word prove.
It's a fact
in a scientific context. Yeah, a fact is something. A fact is based on measurements. But in science,
you don't. Is based on measurements.
Yeah, in science, you don't generally. You don't talk about proving things. That's not how science works.
So science isn't there to prove a reality.
Correct.
They just guess.
No, they don't guess. That's not the opposite of that's not the other option of prove. That's a false dichotomy. So what they do in science is you find evidence for things and you find evidence against things. So you have a hypothesis, you test the hypothesis. When the test doesn't work, then your hypothesis is falsified. When the test does work, the hypothesis is supported. When you've done many, many tests of a particular hypothesis and related hypotheses, then you have a large amount of evidence. And your questioning of it reduces, right?
So then why do you have, so if science has no proof, why is it that science asks for proof?
Science doesn't ask for proof.
I tell you the earth is flat. Hey, where's my proof?
I say where's your evidence? I say where's your evidence? Where's your evidence is what I say. Show me your evidence. Show your measurements of flatness.
Right. So evidence isn't proof.
Correct. So
what is evidence?
How long have you worked in the scientific field?
I'd say about 6 years.
You haven't worked in the scientific field. Clearly, you have not worked in the scientific field, because if you had, then these topics wouldn't come as a surprise to you. That science does not prove things.
It doesn't match reality.
So you Ipsy Dixit again declare that science is different than what all the scientists actually do.
Well, I think the science of the biology of beings, but as far as the science of space, I don't.
You just
that's
deny
not something you can really prove.
Well, of course, as science agrees that you don't prove things, you find evidence for it, or you can falsify. So the best thing that science is really good at falsifying things. So if you think there's a problem with science, then go and falsify it. Go ahead, find what's wrong with it, analyze it, get to understand the details of it, and if there's an error, there you go. You've got something that's notable, but not proof. Falsify.
And technically, it wouldn't be evidence because I'm a single source.
No, it absolutely would be evidence. And so if you did find a falsification of something, then you publish it, and it would be groundbreaking, and people would say, "Wow, that's pretty awesome. Let's go and try." And somebody else would say, "I want to repeat that experiment. I want to confirm it." So then together you would, the two of you, and then more and more and more, and you'd have a bunch of people together that would then explore this newly discovered falsification of something that people have thought was pretty solid for a long time. That's groundbreaking. Welcome to your Nobel Prize.
So, okay, so let's talk about evidence. Okay, so we got NASA, and they've been to space, they've been to the moon, and you talk about the stars in space and how well they're seen, and or if they're even seen. NASA clearly states that stars can be seen, but the Apollo mission with Buzz and Neil and how they talk about not being able to see stars in space. Is there evidence? How does these claims of stars in space? How does this work?
Okay. How many?
I'm having a problem understanding.
Yeah, I understand. So you got to remember,
NASA, the same people that sent these three guys to the moon, states you can see stars in space, but these three guys say they couldn't see any.
You went over that already. I'll answer you. Okay. So, are you familiar with photography? Have you done a lot of photography?
Photography has nothing to do with your eyesight.
So, do you?
They asked them if they could see them.
I'm not done. Have you studied photography at all? Are you familiar? Are you familiar with the 10 stops that that Ansel Adam defined?
What?
Yeah, are you familiar with the 10 stops that Ansel Adams defined? Are you familiar with that?
No, explain.
No. Okay. So a camera
a
camera has a limited range of exposure. Ansel Adams defined, it's arbitrary, but he chose 10 and he defined 10 different stops. He calls them that are exposure. So you set your camera to different exposure levels based on these different stops. And a camera based on the camera that can only take a certain range. So if you set it for a certain exposure level, it can go up a stop and down a stop and get good exposure in that. But farther than that, if it's two stops down, it's too dark. If it's two stops up, it's blown out and you don't get the photograph. Yeah. So when you take a picture of something bright, the things that are dim don't show up in the picture because they're too dim. Okay. When you take a picture of something that's really dark and expose it properly for that darkness, things that are brighter than that exposure level will be blown out.
Yeah, sure. Right? Yeah. So, okay.
So I'm not done. I get all that. I'll finish though, so that you get the entire idea. Okay. When you take a picture of, say, the moon, you expose it for the thing that's in the foreground, the surface of the moon, or the person that you're taking a picture of. Significantly brighter, many stops brighter than the stars that are in the background. So the stars will not show up. They cannot show up. If they were to be there, that would be evidence of fakery in most instances. Same thing with our eyes. Our eyes do have a wider dynamic range than a camera, but not that much more. So if you are looking at something really, really bright, what's going to happen to your eye, your iris? What happens to it? It shrinks, reducing the amount of light coming in. So you can't see the dim things like stars.
But NASA says you can.
Show me where NASA says you can.
There's an interview, a couple of guys. You can watch it yourself. It's with NASA. And they are answering questions from the public. And he clearly states in one of those answers that stars can be seen. Magellanic clouds can be seen.
Okay.
Zodiacal lights can be seen.
Zodiacal lights.
It's something they said. So it has something to do with the zodiacs, I'm sure.
Okay.
But these stars, these light sources in space can be seen in space.
By what?
I'm not talking about
By
a camera.
by
A camera
cameras or
has nothing to
telescopes?
do. We're not talking about a camera. I'm talking about if I go to space and I'm looking at the darkness of space with all the little polka dots. Those polka dots are stars that I can see with my eyes.
Okay. With your eyes. So let's
Buzz
tell you what.
and Neil,
Let's get that.
And Neil and some other guy nobody knows gone to the moon and didn't see one single star.
What do you mean? That's Phil Collins' older brother,
Not even with their
Michael.
eyes. I'm not
It's
saying
not.
they should have taken a photo and
It's not somebody that nobody knows.
They didn't even see that.
Andrew, it's Phil Collins' older brother. Don't forget Michael Collins.
Okay, well, sorry. He didn't say much in the interview.
Okay, so please send the I want to pull up the video where you're talking about that they say that people can.
I don't have the link.
Are you not prepared for that?
Well, yeah, I didn't save no links.
Okay.
I told you I was just going to dome it.
Yeah, you're just going to dome it. Okay. So let me try to understand what it is that you're
like the firmament.
Yeah, I got it.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you have to explain it, I'm sure you.
If you have to explain a joke, it's not very funny. So
sorry.
So you're saying that NASA says that people can see stars, and that people have seen stars.
I'm not saying that people can't see. No, I'm saying NASA in space from the International Space Station.
Okay.
They can see stars. Okay.
Okay.
So at 238,000 miles, where Buzz and Neil and some other guy, they were in deeper space.
Phil Collins' older brother.
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah, Phil Collins' older brother. That guy. Couldn't see stars from 238,000 miles out.
Okay.
But you can see stars in space at 200 miles out.
Sure. All right. So I'll explain it, since you're not putting these puzzle pieces together. When they're on the moon, the surface of the moon is very, very bright. So you would not expect to see.
I wasn't talking about them being on the moon. I'm talking about their journey to the moon and not seeing a single star.
Okay, so when they're inside the capsule with the lights on and looking outside and not seeing the stars. So then comparing that to the ISS.
They weren't smart enough to know to turn out lights, say, hey, I want to see stars.
Maybe they didn't care. It wasn't part of the schedule. It wasn't something they were doing. But on the ISS, people can do that.
Why would they not do that?
Why would they do that?
That's the first thing that I'm doing. If
just
I'm
as valid.
38,000 miles, I'm turning out lights so I can see stars.
Okay. Well, clearly you're not the one that was there. You weren't in charge of the mission. So maybe when you are in charge of a mission to the moon, you could have that be on the schedule. But since you're not in charge, and you weren't in charge then and weren't alive then, your opinion really that they didn't consult you, to nobody's surprise. So you can on the ISS though, if you want, and they're spending more time in there because people are there for months at a time.
Are they really?
So they can say, hey, you know what? I want to get some views of the stars. And so I'm going to do the things necessary to get the views of the stars. So,
so why don't they?
On the ISS,
they're always doing experiments. That's what science is. Wouldn't looking at the stars be an experiment?
I'm pretty sure they do look at the stars. Now, Mike Wagner is saying that Apollo navigated by sighting stars. Now, I don't know anything about that, so I wouldn't make that claim myself. But yeah. Now, can you see stars during the daytime?
Well, actually, that's a funny thing though, because even in that interview, they literally said you could even see stars during the daytime.
Okay. Can you see stars during the daytime, like the 24-hour moon that you saw? I can't see
stars during the daytime because the sun is probably bouncing light off the firmament back at me, along with the sun.
But are you saying that it's too bright to see the stars? Is that why?
Yeah. I don't
There you go.
disagree with.
There you go. All
I
right.
don't disagree with that.
All right.
I don't disagree with that. But I'm talking about while you're in space, in the darkness of space, where you're able to turn off the light, you can see stars, but not any of them seen a star. And they even asked this question in the interview.
Okay.
So why would they ask this question in the interview if it had no relevance to the mission?
Maybe the reporter who asked the question wasn't aware of all of the relevant items in their mission.
Yeah, he wasn't ready for that. He was like, oh shoot, I'm sure they can answer this, and he probably got his ass chewed out for asking the question.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So all right, I've got a couple questions here. Stop Faking is wondering. We hear the at some in here while talking. He says we hear the classic Flurf quote: "The sun has like a direct path; it just moves
and in
circles,
a circular pattern.
It circles it. Yeah,
orbits.
Yeah,
electromagnetism.
Yeah, because the sun is an ion and the moon is an eon.
No, the sun's not an ion; it's more of a proton.
Okay, and the moon's the eon then, right?
Yeah,
that's what you're saying. Okay,
I don't know, man. I'm lost.
I believe you. Somebody's saying Robert Greenlee. Hold on, Robert. I'm checking it.
Oh yeah, Robert Greenlee, my favorite guy in the world.
Yeah. So
I love that guy.
He's pretty smart. I like him. All right. Manny Karen says, if the Earth's atmosphere has 36,000 feet of mass, what's the distance to the dome in kilograms?
Oh shoot, I don't know. I've never been to the dome. I've never taken that calculation.
Not a very good. You're not prepared for that, were you? All right, Mr. United for the Children says, why 75?
I've never been. I've never been to the moon either.
Why 75% instead of 42% or 83%?
Just because it's what's been calculated.
Can you show the math on that?
I'm sure I can find it somewhere.
I'd love to see. I'd love to see the math on that. That'd be hilarious. Adam Lord is wondering, don't know if this came up with the debate so far, but Andrew, was the Blue Origin launch fake, and was William Shatner lying?
No, I don't think. I think they can go up 66 miles. But as far as seeing a globe Earth, I don't think you can see it at 66 miles if it was a globe.
So the question is,
the horizon line doesn't prove curvature. In fact, it improves the opposite of curvature. It's a straight line.
Except it's curved. I mean, you can see the curve. You can measure the curve.
The straight line I see, when I go to a body of ocean, the straight line I see is a curve. It's not actually straight. The horizon line. Horizon doesn't mean a straight line.
Correct. It means a limiting circle.
Horizon means a curve.
It means limiting circle is actually the original. But the horizon is curved. There is a left to right curve to the horizon that you can see.
I mean, how?
Well, I'll show you.
How do you see it?
I'll show you. Just a second here. A friend of mine, Rory, went to Ibiza.
Every straight line I see, I'm just going to automatically assume it's curved.
Okay, so here is from Rory. Rory went to Ibiza at 600 feet above the water. This is just the setup here. You can see here he has two straight edges on a table. He lined them up so that they are straight across. So any curvature that was introduced by the camera can be verified because you can look at the actual straight edge. So if the straight edge is straight, then you know that the camera is not introducing any curve to it, right? Because there's a straight edge. We know the straight edge is straight.
What is the horizon line raise to eye level?
So here it is. That's not what he's looking at. So here is the actual photograph where he put between these two straight edges. I'll zoom in here so you can get a look here. Here is the two straight edges close up. And I'll zoom in more. You see that? Right there, between the two straight edges, he positioned the horizon. See that? Nice,
Yeah.
nice crisp horizon there. Pretty good. Between the straight edge. Now you can scroll left to right here and you can see the horizon's coming up, and you keep going and the horizon curves down a little bit then. Now there's an easier way to see that.
I don't see that.
Yeah, it's
That's
hard
not
to
what I
see.
see.
It's hard to see because it's too big to have in your view at one time. But what we can do is you can do a left to right compression. When you do just a left to right compression of an image, what it does is straight lines remain straight and curved lines look more curved. It accentuates that curve. So here is a compression. So you can see the straight edges remain straight and the horizon is curved.
Yeah. So when they send up high altitude balloons and they put these cameras on these high altitude balloons.
Sorry, that's it. I'm showing you this right now. So just a second. Yeah. Let's respond to this specific point right now, and then we can talk about high altitude balloons.
Okay.
So what do you say to this? This is a curved horizon.
That is definitely not what I see.
You don't see a curve.
In that picture, yes, I do.
Okay. So you see a curve
but
in this
not
picture.
In reality.
Reality
doesn't show a curve.
That is a photograph of reality taken at 600 feet above the sea level. That is the actual water of the ocean in Ibiza, which is in the Mediterranean. It's a sea, not the ocean.
So I get on a plane at 36,000 feet.
Different topic. Let's look at this one. I'm showing you this one right here. But
we're talking about height.
This
at
particular
above sea level, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So there's that much curve at 600 feet.
Well, that's not much curve. It's not a lot of curve. It's a small amount of curve, but you can see it when you do a left to right compression.
That's a lot of curve, man, right there.
Well, it's because we did a left to right compression. But now let's look at this. Tommy Gronwald, friend of mine, he's in the chat still, I think. He was in here earlier. Mm-hmm. He did this one. This is at a lower elevation. Now I have all the details in here, including the original photograph taken from the camera in raw format. You can see here, this is a little maybe confusing to see, but this is another straight edge that he's put up near the horizon. Do you see that? So it's a bar that he puts next to the horizon. And what I did is I actually went and counted the pixels. And here's a close-up of the actual work in Photoshop where I counted the pixels. You see that? From the straight edge to the horizon.
Yeah, looks like Photoshop.
That is absolutely Photoshop. You're correct. I used Photoshop to put pixels on the screen so I could count the pixels between the straight edge and the horizon, right? So then what I did is I took those measurements and I put them into a spreadsheet. And here's the screenshot of the spreadsheet. And here is
your calculation for curvature.
Right there. That is the plot of the distances between the straight edge and the horizon. And it's curved. So there's a measurement that's quantified, a numeric measurement of the curve of the horizon. Now that's not it. There's more. You want to talk about high altitude balloons, right?
Yeah. And the cameras they use,
It's absolutely, and that's important. You would not want a fisheye lens because it gives you introduces curvature. So what you want to do is you want to use a lens that does not introduce curvature, right?
It curves straight lines, but it doesn't affect curved lines.
So you would want to use what's called a rectilinear lens, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what a rectilinear lens is?
A rectangular lens?
No, it's a lens that doesn't introduce curve to it.
Okay, yeah.
So,
yeah, sure.
So Dwayne used a Sony A7 camera, A7S II, and with the lens he used a Sony FE 50mm f1.8, a pretty nice lens. Not super expensive, but it's a decent lens. And so I have on my website here at mc2.net/Dwayne Kellum the details of the lens.
Yeah.
And so here's a review of the lens on thedigitalpicture.com. And here is, you see this? Here is their measurements of the introduced curve or distortion of the lens. Do you see that it's straight? There's no curve introduced by the lens. Not significant, right? So we have a not fisheye lens, right? Now I want to also mention Dwayne Kellum did this. He is a flat earther. Okay. So here is, he sent up 20 some different balloons. This is number 21 at 117,000 feet. Here is the still from the video. I just took the still from the video. You can also, on your own, go to my website. You can go to the link where it goes right to his video, and you can see in his video the curve of the horizon. Now I added this yellow line, so you can see on the left here, I put the yellow line immediately below the horizon, and on the right I put it immediately below the horizon, and in the middle it bulges up. So again, we have curvature. To see that a little easier, I compressed it left to right, and there's the curve.
Yeah.
So once again, visible curve of the horizon taken with a camera that does not introduce fisheye. It's not a fisheye lens. So,
Are you there?
I'm here.
Something strange happened, man.
Okay.
Okay. All right, back.
So,
Yeah.
that is a well-controlled experiment because it's not a fisheye lens. So we can't say that any curve is due to the lens distortion.
It's not provable.
What do you mean it's not provable?
You can't prove it.
Can't prove what?
The curvature.
I don't know why you're going to some sort of a mantra saying you can't prove. Of course you can't prove. Science doesn't prove. But this is a fact.
Right.
This is a fact that there is a visible curve right there. That's a fact.
What? The opposite of fact is proof. The opposite of that?
No, there is no opposite necessarily to fact. I don't know.
There's
why
not
that
an
would,
opposite to fact.
I don't know why we would be playing this kind of a word game to say what's the opposite of some particular word. So in science, science doesn't prove things. So just saying that's not proof is a meaningless thing because science doesn't prove things. If you want to disprove something, that is something science can do. This image, this photograph here.
So the opposite of prove is to disprove.
Yes.
So
and that we can do in science, and it's better word is falsify. So this particular photograph falsifies flat Earth. It falsifies flat Earth. So this right here shows that the Earth cannot be flat.
No.
Well, why is there a curve of the horizon?
That's a CGI photo you concocted.
In fact, I mentioned that you can personally go look at the video from Flat Earther Dwayne Kellum. The name of the video, it's on YouTube. Yeah. It's called High Altitude Balloon 24, parentheses, I See Stars. Yeah. That's a video by Flat Earther Dwayne Kellum.
No Flat Earther proves a globe.
Again, you go with prove. I keep reminding you.
He's not a flat earther.
Science does not prove things. And it seems like you are rejecting somebody that is a true flat earther based on he just contradicted your pre-selected conclusion. So
he disproved me.
Yes, Dwayne Kellum, the flat earther, falsified flat Earth in this particular video, and many of his videos. He uses the same camera and lens in several of his videos, and his balloons go up similar height in many of his videos, and you can see the curve yourself. What's that?
Yeah. Is that a tangible evidence?
This is a falsification of flat Earth.
So it's tangible evidence.
This is a falsification of flat Earth. Don't put words in my mouth.
Oh, well, is there anything tangible about a globe Earth?
Are you moving the goalpost now? You talked about the horizon at high altitude balloons, and I'm showing you this is your topic that you wanted to talk about. I showed you a high altitude balloon from 117,000 feet with a visible curve to the horizon. This is your specific topic that you wanted to talk about. All right, now you want to change it to I want to see tangible. Okay, so if you don't have,
I do want to see tangible.
Yeah. So tell you what, you bring up. I feel bad for monopolizing all the time. How about you show me your tangible, because that seems to be the word you want, tangible evidence of flat Earth. Go ahead.
It's the ground, man. But anyways,
it's the ground.
It's really not a question.
Wait, hold on. It's the ground, man. It's the ground, man.
Flat Earth isn't that question. Well, it is.
It's the ground, man. That I gotta say, in over 200 debates, I gotta say evidence. That is the lamest answer ever.
Well,
it's the ground, man.
It may be lame, but it's the truth.
It is absolutely not the truth. Not even close.
Tangible evidence of Earth is right below our feet.
It's the ground, man.
Well, shoot.
Oh my gosh, that is so. Oh, it's hilarious. All right, I tell you what, I got a couple of other questions.
Okay.
RT96 says 8 miles high by the birds was in space.
8 miles high.
Birds is spelled with a Y. I think it was. I think it was Larry Bird. It was General Larry Bird you were talking about earlier. C. Mitch Play says you're like a cat playing with a mouse before slicing it to bits. Also, what new Mac did you get? Please say M1 Max. Yes, the new Mac I have is a laptop. It is 32 gig of RAM, and yeah, it's the top one, I think.
So does science not hand out tangible evidence of their claims?
Sure. King Conquest says this dude sounds like he injured his brain trying to help his kid with their grade school math homework. Do you have a kid? Do you have any children?
Honestly, I probably got about 10.
Oh, that's bad news.
That's bad, huh?
But you don't know of any?
It's just, there's been many women. It's a possibility.
How very sad.
That I have a kid out there.
All right. Magellan says flat earthers couldn't address cleaning their own room for mommy to inspect. So there is a meme that flat earthers live with their mom and in fact in the basement under the trailer. Do you live in the trailer under your mom's basement, or is that not true for you?
I don't live in the basement under my mom's trailer.
Okay. Do you live in your mom's trailer?
No.
Okay. You got a little coy all of a sudden. All right, never mind. Minus says maybe hold the FE to the flat earther to the same standard of evidence as the globe. It does seem that you want tangible proof.
I do.
And all that you've presented is it's the ground, man. Which doesn't really.
So when somebody comes to you and tells you the Earth is a globe, you wouldn't ask for tangible evidence of that? You just say, oh, okay, yeah, I believe you.
Well, certainly you have definitely moved the goalposts because you never talked about tangible evidence before. So, oh, and
So
PJCnet.
there is
Oh,
none.
just a second. I gotta address this. PJCnet. Jake used a particular method to prove what he claimed that he proved. I used the exact same method as Jake.
Well, you
So,
don't use
so
prove, remember?
oh, I agree. Jake is
Oh,
a science denier. I did a video on him. He claims to have proved something by just making
yeah.
claims. So I made a bunch of claims about Jake. I claimed with no evidence that he lives in the basement under his mom's trailer, using the exact same method that Jake used. Therefore, by Jake's method, I proved, according to Jake, that he lived in the basement under his mom's trailer. He came out with video that he tried to suggest somehow contradicted it, but that doesn't matter because I used Jake's method.
Yeah.
Jake's method rejects any video that contradicts it and instead replaces it with the claims that are made. So anyway, PJCnet is in here. So and Jake completely missed the point of my video that if what he did is considered proof, then what I did is considered proof. And if he doesn't like my method of proof, he should not like his method of proof because they're the same.
Right.
So, all right. The Logical Hillbilly says he does his own research. Apparently sucks at it. I gotta agree, man. I mean, you haven't really had much of anything to present here, like at all. Kind of bad.
I mean, and pretty sure it's equal there because there's no tangible evidence that you shared.
There's no tangible evidence that I shared. I mean, I showed
Is there?
pictures.
Did
I
you show
showed
tangible evidence of globe Earth?
I showed photographs of
Photographs.
Yeah, of the curve of the horizon. You are the one that talked about pictures.
That's tangible evidence.
But now here's the thing. This was your standard of evidence until it didn't work for you. You were happy to reference photographs taken from high altitude balloons. So I showed you a photograph taken from a high altitude balloon, and suddenly that's not good enough for you.
I just want to know if it's tangible evidence.
It's not. And what would you define as tangible evidence?
Tangible?
Then it seems. So how about this? Define tangible evidence so that you can't change the goalposts again later. What do you mean by tangible evidence?
Do you not understand tangible?
Go ahead. Present your definition of tangible evidence so that I can use your definition to present to you tangible evidence as you've said is what you expect. So what is tangible evidence so that we can be sure that we're using the same measure?
Well, tangible evidence wasn't the photo you shared.
Okay. Do you have a definition so that I can be sure that I meet your definition of tangible evidence? What is the definition of tangible evidence?
You can look up tangible evidence right now.
Okay, you go ahead and present your definition of tangible. Sounds like you don't want to present a definition for tangible evidence so that you can change the definition later, which you've already done.
How have I changed it?
Well,
asking you if the photo is tangible.
You moved the goalposts. You were happy to reference photographs from high altitude balloons when you thought that it was going to show flatness. I show from high altitude balloon that it is not flat, and suddenly that's not good enough for you. That's called moving the goalposts.
But it's not tangible.
Yeah, that you move the goalposts. You first were happy to talk about photographs from high altitude. Now you don't want photographs from high altitude.
No, I like the idea of photos from high altitude. I brought it up.
All right, then we can then.
But it's
I showed photographs of high altitude falsifying flat Earth.
Just like the satellite 1 million miles away on the opposite side of the sun, or on the opposite side of the moon,
1 million miles away on the opposite side of the moon. Okay, go ahead.
It's not tangible evidence of the Earth
Okay.
and the moon's orbit around Earth.
So you have denialism. Okay, so give me an example of tangible flat Earth evidence. Go ahead.
Tangible flat Earth evidence.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wouldn't that be Earth?
Yeah, go ahead. Tangible flat Earth evidence, like some tangible measurement or a tangible
Earth
something. Oh, you're cutting out again. For some reason you just cut out again.
Tangible evidence. You hear me?
Okay. Yep, now you're back.
Land, the
what?
The Earth I walk on. Is that not considered tangible evidence?
Sure. So how did you measure that? How did you tangibly measure that tangible evidence to be flat?
8 inches per mile squared.
Oh, that's optical, though. So how did you tangibly measure the tangible flatness of the tangible Earth?
You can do it through sun rays.
No, but you
can measure it through sun rays.
Yeah, but optical is not tangible. So what's tangible then? Go ahead. Show something tangible. A tangible measurement of the tangible surface of the Earth, tangibly being flat. Go ahead. Not optical. You rejected optical when I showed a photograph of the curve of the horizon. So where's the tangible measurement that you want? Just in this example of the tangible flatness of Earth. Do you have it?
Tangible is something that you can touch, see, smell, taste.
Okay. And so go ahead. So see. So you've now included seeing something intangible again?
Yeah.
So a photograph from a high altitude balloon.
The horizon line is visible.
A photograph from a high altitude balloon is tangible now.
No, not a photograph.
Oh.
Is a photograph tangible?
I don't know. You said see. So cameras function.
Or would the object in that photo be tangible?
Yeah. So well, I mean, you said see. So are you going to back off on seeing things then?
No, not backing off on seeing things.
Okay. So you can see things. If you see things, that counts as tangible. Is that right?
Not just seeing.
Oh, well, expand then. Go ahead.
Tangibility includes vision, touch, smell, taste. It's your 5 senses.
Okay.
That's anything tangible. You're going to have those senses involved.
So you can see things. That's part of tangible. So seeing the curve of the horizon.
Seeing things.
Yeah,
and it's not just touching things. And it's not just smelling things.
Okay. So do you have then
tangible?
Okay, where's your tangible, by your definition, evidence that the Earth is flat? Then go ahead. Bring forth the tangible evidence. Can you smell?
I want tangible evidence for a globe. Well, the globe is that question, not flat Earth.
Oh, hell no! The flat Earth is definitely the one that we're questioning, because you have not provided one piece of evidence yet. I have shown photographs of the Earth from space taken on camera. That is
Operation
Hold on,
Hygiene.
I'm not done. That's nothing actually. So a photograph of the Earth from space taken on physical film, developed in a wet process, that you said no, but I showed that. I showed the curve of the horizon in 3 different pictures, 3 different things that, according to you,
they were all CGI.
So you say now that later, you didn't say it earlier.
Literally even said you had to CGI them to pixelate the curvature.
I counted the pixels. That's a measurement. I counted the pixels. So I showed you 3 different photographs of the horizon that were curved, factually curved. You've done nothing yet. But you have definitely moved the goalposts from where you were happy with optical, but now somehow it needs to be tangible. So maybe you could show us how can we smell the flatness of Earth?
So what is tangible?
This is your standard of evidence that you are demanding. You are the one that should be able to define your standard of evidence. Go ahead.
You know what tangible evidence is?
I'm asking for you to define it because that seems to be your new standard that you now everything must adhere to.
I've already defined it. So what's your definition of tangibility?
I don't have a definition for your standard of evidence.
So what is tangible?
It's your standard of evidence, not mine. I have a different standard of evidence. This is yours. So define your standard of evidence. Go ahead.
So your standard of evidence doesn't require tangibility.
Go ahead and define your standard of evidence. You have rejected a photograph of the curve of the horizon because you didn't like it. So please define your standard of evidence and what you mean when you say tangible. Go ahead.
I've already told you tangibility has to do with the 5 senses.
So can you smell the flatness of Earth?
Yes.
Ooh, how? How did you smell the flatness of Earth?
No, I can't smell the flatness of Earth.
Okay. So I'm still waiting. I mean, you gotta, if you're going to have a standard of evidence, and it's very particularly.
I'm almost sure that's like a straw man argument right there.
Well,
I don't think anyone.
You were talking about the 5 senses. Smell is one of the senses. So I would totally expect you to smell the flatness of Earth.
That's funny.
Can you can you taste the flatness of Earth?
Oh yeah.
All right. I tell you, I gotta get back to this here. Here, hold on a second.
Tangibility. You have no idea what tangibility is.
It's your definition. I'll tell you what. I'll let you ponder that, and maybe we come back to that in a little bit. But King Conquest says, whenever I feel bad about my life, I watch a flat Earth debate, and I feel like it's not actually that bad. Yep. King Conquest again says, flirts remind me of those kids in school who didn't understand the lectures, so they picked on the smarter kids instead of just asking for help. Was that you, Andrew? Oh, you're cutting out again. Was that you? Did you shake?
I said maybe.
Maybe. All right. I'll take that as a yes. Stan G says, as a graphic designer, I really want to use the 1933 version of Photoshop. Did it ship on vacuum tubes delivered by Pony Express? Do you know that? All right.
Man, I couldn't tell you the answer to that.
All right.
Might be Pony Express.
Yep, on vacuum tubes. Manny Karen says, if you want that real spherical look, NASA recommends L'Oreal. It's a type of makeup, I think. Robeep says, in alternating case, says, you're insane right now. How do you hear yourself? You said that to me. Good work killing the guy on Livestream Tune. Thank you, Robeep. Wrote it no last name says, wow, he's more.
You didn't kill anything. You haven't even proved a globe.
Again with the prove thing, huh? Wrote it no last name says, wow, he's more confused than a eunuch in a brothel.
Oh man, that's bad.
It is. Strong Fellow Hawk says, don't be silly. The Flurf Dictionary won't be written by him. It will be written by Mallory. Oh, that would be wonderful. Do you know Mallory?
Mallory Hitchinson?
No, Mallory's a flat earther. We don't know her last name. It's probably not actually her name.
It's probably Hitchinson.
I don't know. Why do you think it's Hitchinson?
Most Mallorys are.
What the hell are you talking about? Most Mallorys have the same last name. That is the.
Sorry, man.
What the hell even is that? Sarcastic Barman has two parentheses. Two open parentheses, then says, are these two lines level with each other?
I don't
No,
think so.
they're not. They would need to have different radii since they're concentric. Layal says Operation High Jump is U.S. military operation. If we can't trust the government, why can we trust this U.S. government operation?
I don't think you should trust anyone.
Oh, well, I know the answer to that is, again, cherry picking. It's item number 8 on the here, let me get it up here. On the pseudoscience checklist right there. I think it's 8. Yeah. Nope, not 8 is proof. 8 is expecting proof. Number 3 of the pseudoscience characteristics is cherry picking.
Yeah.
There it is. No, yeah. So, all right. Thank you, Lael, for that. That's very good. Cretan Bull says, probably Magellan is my new favorite response from a flat earther. That was good.
That was a good one.
All right. Alyssum says, good morning. Stay hydrated. Poor guy doesn't even realize when you're flipping the bird, spelled with a Y. Now for tradition, why is all navigation based on a globe?
Navigation isn't based on the globe.
Well, that's news. These charts right here. Do you see these charts on my wall here? These charts are air navigation maps that are based on the globe.
Flat Earth composites.
They are actually based on the globe. When you connect them together, they form a globe. I actually did that with these exact maps that I have on the wall here. I did 3 lines, each of them 10,000 kilometers long, joined them together. They did not fit on a flat surface, but when I put them on a sphere, I built a sphere in my kitchen out of PVC pipe, they fit together just fine on a sphere. It was quite amazing. It was the 3rd video on my channel, if anybody wants to go look at that one.
Well, yeah, still looks like flat Earth composites.
These particular maps form a globe when you connect them together. And these particular maps are maps.
I'm sure you can form flat Earth composites to fit a globe.
Well, these particular maps have been used for decades to accurately fly around the world and get distances and navigation, all that. And so if the shape of the Earth is different than what these maps are using, then those pilots would have a hard time getting where they're going.
I don't know.
In fact, he says that was 2 years ago. Things changed. That was 3 years ago this month that I had my first video. 3 years ago. All right. So thank you, Alyssa. Brian Peck says another semantics expert who doesn't understand proof. Lord help these poor flirps because they have failed on the most basic level. It's been fun.
Well, but I require proof.
It's been
and tangible evidence.
It's been a laugh. Rocky Bixby says, hey Toon, I have a video clip of me proving gravity using Cavendish. I did 3 times to make sure of the results. Can I send it to you? Now,
does he have a 0G room?
He used the word proving. I don't like that. But maybe confirming would be the appropriate word. Yes, Rocky, you could send that to me. If you're on Discord, that's a good spot. Otherwise, you could email it to me. Both of the links are in the description.
How do you prove gravity? A 0G room?
You don't need a 0G room. You need to.
Well, gravity, isn't it all mass attracting one another?
True. Yes. So what you need to do is you need to.
The vacuum.
Hold on a second. You're cutting out. Hold on. You cut out for a second. Hold on.
Same, right?
Hold on. None of that what you said came through. Can you say it again?
Okay, so the vacuum is. Isn't this where all mass falls at the same rate?
All right, I'll start again. Because with 0G room, because you were cutting out. Maybe you want to turn off the
okay,
camera.
So does that guy have a 0G room?
Hold on, your camera's on. Do you want to maybe?
Yeah, I got it turned off.
Yeah, turn it off. Okay. All right, so start again there.
So how do you prove gravity? A zero G room, right?
Well, you confirm it. You don't need a 0G room. What you do is you need to deal with conflating variables or confounding variables.
Or space.
You don't need space. What? So
you don't need space. So
no,
atmosphere affects mass differently than the vacuum of space.
vertically, but not horizontally.
I thought there was no sense of direction in space.
On the surface of the Earth, I'm talking about, not because that's where the experiment was done.
Earth is in space.
Sure. But within the reference frame of the Earth,
And
we have a direction. We have a
rate.
downward direction. It's towards the center of the Earth. So in a torsion, you use a torsion bar to.
So the center of the Earth is where gravity attracts other large masses in space.
Yes.
Is the center point.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so mass has to have a center point to attract other mass from its center point.
Sure.
This is where this field of gravity comes in.
Okay.
So in space, where mass falls at the same rate.
In space.
Where in space, mass falls at the same rate.
What the hell even is that? Do you mean in an evacuated chamber?
An evacuated chamber is a simulation of space.
No. Not at all.
A zero G room?
It is not a 0G room. The pressure and gravity are not the same thing.
When a feather and a bowling ball, different masses fall at the same rate.
Yes.
That's an example of gravity.
That is gravity, yes.
Okay,
not space. Don't confuse an evacuated chamber with space.
No, I'm not. That's just an experiment used on Earth to test gravity.
That's one experiment, yes.
To test their theory of space.
No. Not to test their theory of space. I don't know what even that means. That oh my gosh.
But in space, everything's falling at the same rate.
In a vacuum chamber.
All mass, no matter the size of the mass.
Not in space. Hold on. Not in space. In an evacuated chamber.
Okay, so space is an evacuated chamber.
No.
It's not space. It's an evacuated chamber.
Why are you conflating an evacuated chamber with space? They're not the same thing.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's not space. It's an evacuated chamber.
Okay, so stop talking about space. Stop. We're not talking about space.
Right. Okay, so we're not talking about space.
Correct. We're talking about an evacuated chamber is what you brought up. But that's not the only way to measure the force of gravity. You don't need an evacuated chamber. There's other ways.
But the universal constant is gravity, right?
The gravitational constant is the gravitational constant.
But it's universal.
Yes.
Okay. So the universal constant, gravity, where does it come from in space?
Why are you going back to space? Oh my goodness.
Isn't that where we are?
Oh my gosh.
Are we in space floating around?
No.
On a ball?
We're on the Earth. So here's
we're on Earth,
so
in space, floating around.
That's a separate thing.
Orbiting
we
the
are
sun.
That's not, you're adding in all these other things where when you're just measuring and testing whether or not gravity exists and measuring the strength of gravity. All these other things aren't necessary. It's a torsion bar.
Sounds like you're diverting.
It's a torsion bar. Do you know how a torsion bar works to negate
like 16 force?
Oh my gosh. Okay, you're not going to get it. All right. Wow. Thank you, Rocky. Mr. Unite for the Children says Bird was the very model of a modern major general. Modern naval general. My goodness, I got to do that one more time for you. Byrd was the very model of a modern naval general. That's hard to say when
That's
I
a
want to
tongue
say it
twister.
when I want to say it the other way because I've heard the song.
Maybe you
Drake,
should say it backwards.
I general naval modern of model very the was Byrd. Dracofire says the sun is a proton. So
I think bird was the word.
I've heard that too. I think it's just a rumor. Dracofire says the sun is a proton, so uranium atoms contain 92 suns. Is that the
uranium? You mean the wandering star above us?
No, uranium. It's an element.
Oh, not Uranus.
It's just I prefer the Cephas.
Uranus or Uranus.
Uranus. There you go. The problem is, at heart, I am a child. I am 13 years old at heart. So any of those kinds of things, I just can't stop tittering like a schoolgirl when I hear them. In fact, there's a lake in South America that I can't say without laughing. It's a high altitude lake. Do you know of any high altitude lakes in South America?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Alyssum.
No, I know the Nile River in Africa.
That's a different, it's a different one. All right. So Merrick Zions says, Alyssum would ask, why is all navigation based on a globe? He already asked it. And we talked about right there. Michael Acosta. So, Rose. Hold on. Somebody says that they are your coworker. Rose. What was the last name? I don't know.
Maybe. I told a few people I was going to be live debating.
Rose Squad says, yep, Rose Squad. So, all right. Michael Acosta. It's he or she. Rose seems like a female name, but says that it's talking to you is a losing battle. And I understand. All right. Michael Acosta says, too, and your patience is something of envy, sir. This is another example of flat Earth taking its dying breaths if this is the best they can do. Absolutely.
That's the reason why I love globe earthers right there. Those comments like that.
I think this is a little sarcasm here. Don Giovanni says Brian May got his PhD in, where'd it go? Went off the screen. Got his, darn it, get back here. Got his PhD for zodiacal light. Brian, you know Brian May is, right? You know Brian May?
No, I don't know Brian May.
That's from
Brian May?
From a TV show about cars. Earth is Life sent you 2 images in email. Oh, I don't even have my email client running. Sometimes turn it off during videos to save. So I'll take a look here in Earth is Life. Hold on. I'm looking. There it is.
You looking for tangibility?
Well, I mean, I'm still wondering, and you're still got to think about your Yeah, I've seen those. Those are good. I like those.
Yeah, it sure would be nice if, for once, Globe Model could actually hand out some of that tangible evidence of its claims.
If you could write down the definition for tangible, then we could make sure that we get some evidence that matches that definition so that later you can't say that's not what I meant. Anyway, Throw the Dwarf of the House of Torg says, how about proof of your dome? Why don't we see odd references from it? What is it made of?
Proof?
What's the tangible proof, using your word, of the dome?
I don't really have any.
And yet you think that you want people to, so let me go back to Michael Acosta saying this is another example of flat Earth taking its dying breaths if this is the best they can do. It is using your own standard of evidence. Using your own standard of evidence, you don't have your own standard of evidence matching what you want. So, all right.
You're right. I don't have standard evidence for a dome. But you don't have standard evidence. You don't have tangible evidence for a globe.
All right. So Yeah, I mean, you're just a science denier then. All right, so hold on a second. Brian May
I'm
is the
not a science
guitarist.
denier.
Brian May is the guitarist for Queen, not James May, who is the car show guy. Sorry. I'm sorry. I did not know.
I'm not afraid to admit that there may not be a dome, but I do understand
I agree. There's not a dome.
gas pressure. There has to be a container to contain that gas pressure.
Oh, you're confusing gas pressure with atmospheric pressure, but I get it. Oh,
Atmospheric pressure is gases.
That's a second bingo I got. 2 bingos. All right, hold on. I'm almost done here. Chris Hoffman, does this silly flat earther consider the measurements that surveyors use as tangible evidence? Do you consider surveyors measurements?
Surveyors don't calculate Earth's curvature.
I'm asking, do you consider the measurements that they take as tangible?
Of a flat Earth, yeah, for sure.
Do you just yes or no? Is the measurements that surveyors take tangible?
Well, they don't account for curvature, so yeah, I'm all game for that.
You're all game for surveyors. So it
Yeah,
sounds like your definition of tangible has a qualification that it must first support your pre-selected conclusion.
It's not pre-selected conclusions.
Yeah, but the way you said that included that it must fit your pre-selected conclusion. So can you say, without including any qualifications to this, the answer to this question, are the measurements that surveyors take tangible? Don't add any qualifications, just are the measurements that they take tangible, yes or no?
Measurements of an Earth, round or flat, can be considered tangible, yes.
Okay, so measurements, absolutely. All right, excellent. All right. Steve 6464. Oh no, I don't. There it is. The rest, or that photo of power lines over the lake in Louisiana. Have you seen that?
Yes.
You have, and is that tangible?
The photo, no.
So photos are not part of tangible.
The photo itself is tangible, but the imagery is not.
How is that? That seems a little weird. So a photograph is tangible, but because you don't like what it shows, it's not allowed?
It's not that I don't like what it showed. It's just that it can be manipulated.
How was it manipulated?
Through computer graphics.
But he live streamed it.
Oh, then I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you should look at that. He live streamed it. He had the live chat telling him what to do. He turned the camera upside down in the stream to show that any particular curve that was being introduced by the camera would be curved the other direction during the
curvatures at 36,000 miles up. What makes you think you're going to be able to see curvature at 6 feet?
I showed you curvature in 3 different photos. One just above the water, one at 600 feet, one at 117,000 feet. Oh my goodness. All right. So Andrew, Steve 6464 says Andrew's It's the Ground Man is up there with Spicoli's From the Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I don't know.
The ground, Earth, yes, that's tangible evidence of a flat Earth.
Oh, okay. Mr. King, sleepy, first name is Sofa, says Earth is flat as toast. That's what it smells like.
Well, like a pancake.
Like toast. Come on. And there's butter on the toast. A little bit of honey. All right.
That does sound good.
Why
kick
a mook house says, in the words of the great and powerful Mallory, boop. Can you say boop?
Boop.
Oh, do it higher like Mallory does.
Boop.
There you go. Perfect. Rocky Bixby says it's on your Discord server under the general tab. All right, so we've got some on my Discord server in the general tab, some pictures from Rocky Bixby. Thank you for that. So be sure to check that.
Middleton,
Yes.
we're gonna have to cut this short.
All right. Well, it's, I appreciate Andrew
Here, live debating you. I've starved myself. I haven't got any tangible evidence from you. This was extremely fun, though.
Yes, I did have fun. Maybe we can talk again in the future about the eons and ions of the electromagnetic wake of flat Earth.
Of reality? Oh, sure, anytime. Of the flat Earth reality.
The eons and ions of the electromagnetic wake. So, all right, I will. So you can pop out. I just have a few things to do here, and then I've got another video with Joe Hill, who's I think still in the chat, coming up in a few minutes. So I'll get to that. But thank you very much, Andrew. Anything you want to say before you leave?
Oh, stay flat.
Perfect. That's what Flat Out says. I hope you're all keeping it flat. All right.
That's right.
Thank you, Andrew.
That's right.
All right, and I can hear his dog going.
All right, it's time to go eat, man. It was great.
All right. Enjoy your French toast. All right. This, you can almost hear dear. All right. Is he still there? I want to make sure there he is. He's out. All right. You can Verillion for 5 Australian says you can almost hear Andrew's single brain cell working in overdrive. Corntech says in space you can hear the flat Earth scream. Yes, in space you can hear flat Earth scream. I like Marcus, not Marcus Dresden, Beiser. Beiser. He has a shirt that says in space nobody can hear you, derp. Something like that. Right. What? I've got a Kiwi Stona. Says bye, Cretan. I don't need to be that mean. Come on. Let's see. Corntech in space. Yeah. All right. There we go. The Sun Express says, Dear Flurf, why lake is the Earth Titicaca not allowed to be a sphere? Why is the Earth not allowed to be a sphere? Lake Titicaca. Peterman's Prime says, do you understand the significance of F equals MA? I don't. I think that might be a bit much. And Alyssum says, are my flights tangible? I think it was clear that the only things that are allowed for evidence for him are things that support his pre-selected conclusion. So there's that. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, it wasn't Marcus Dresden. And I don't see that Mark Beiser is here. But yes, I do have, thank you, Glober Mom. I have another stream coming with Joe Hill in about 10 minutes. And yes, Tommy, I did have him spinning around at the beginning. So you know, in electromagnetism, there are ions, but there are not eons. Eon is a long amount of time. That's a reference from Mark Steele, who claims to be very, very expert. Very, very expert, but doesn't know electromagnetism at all, claiming that there are eons and ions, and he didn't know which one had a charge, a positive or negative charge. In reality, they're all ions. You have cations and anions, or I like to say cations and anions. Anions are negative, cations are positive. All right. Will they ever make the movie Superman versus Ground Man? I don't know. That's a good question. And Anthony Dunham, let's see, Horizontal Planet claims to be a black belt in MMA, gets himself into BS, just prances with his smug laugh, and dashes to a BS comment to read, "He's here to mock the truth." Is that me? Oh, me. I claim to be a black belt in MMA? No. I have a second-degree black belt in a Korean martial art, but it's not MMA. I am here to mock flat earthers, though. Absolutely, you're right, Anthony Dunham. Anthony D-Time Dunham. Without the D-Time, I didn't recognize it was you, man. Yes, that's so funny. Anthony, we got to get you on for another round of debate. That didn't happen last time, but yeah, there's no such thing as a belt in MMA. So, all right. Let's see. There's Rocky. There it is. Okay. So anyway, that's what I've got. I've got to hit the bathroom, get a couple things going, get set up with Joe Hill, and then we're going to do that. Thank you very much, Andrew. It was a blast. And I'm glad that you at least acknowledge that you don't have evidence that matches your standard of evidence, rather than the kind of standard position of flat earthers, where they have a pseudoscience position for accepting evidence for flat earth and a science denialism position for rejecting evidence that doesn't fit their pre-selected conclusion. He just has science denialism where he rejects everything that doesn't fit his pre-selected conclusion. So anyway, he considers surveyors' measurements to be tangible. And there he just painted himself in a corner, which I know he didn't want to do. That's why he was trying not to answer. So that's what I've got for now. Thank you very much to everybody that that supported this. Thank you to Andrew. Thank you for super chats, channel members, and patrons. I put out just a couple days ago a short video montage of into members and patrons, and I have as I do them, that's where they go. So it's a little something for you guys to enjoy. So that's what I got. We'll see you in a few minutes. Bye, everybody.